Alright, so I really wanted to make a video regarding MIXNINE for the longest time now. And now that YG officially cancelled the debut of the group, I think it's a perfect time for me to analyze exactly what happened around the whole situation. So YG just scrapped the plans to debut the winning team from the survival show MIXNINE. The original plan was to have around 7-month contract with the winners, but due to the unpopularity of the show, YG wanted to extend the contract to 3 years, alternating the members back to their respective companies for 6 months. So it would be 6 months with YG, 6 months with their companies, 6 months YG, and so on, all in order to correctly promote the group. The members' companies, of course, disagreed with this due to the large amount of time it would last and the eventual burnout and stress the members would be facing. Now, here I want to applaud the companies for not letting a giant like YG Entertainment take advantage of the members and knowing how to say no for the best of their trainees. I know it sounds like I think YG did a bad thing, but looking at it from a business perspective, I think he made the right decision in not debuting the group. Like I said before, MIXNINE massively underperformed, so YG would be at a loss debuting a group that would ultimately not blow up at the start, and with not enough time to promote them, calling off the contract benefits both sides, or at least cuts its losses. I will, however, condemn YG for deciding to make a survival program in the first place. As seen in forums and comments all around the net, it made no sense for YG to want to debut a new group when they couldn't even manage their current group sufficiently. Ever since I heard that the concept of the show was going to be boys versus girls, I knew the show was just going to go downhill. It didn't make much sense, as YG's current roster of groups would affect the voting. This especially seemed odd for me, as I felt the girls would be at a disadvantage in the end, as people didn't want to see a new group debut from YG. They wanted to see more BLACKPINK, which had their last comeback over a year ago, so to me the natural winners of the show would ultimately be the boys. And this of course came true. Now, one thing I think affected MIXNINE's poor performance was the existence of The Unit, another survival program that was airing at the same time MIXNINE was, both with similar premises. The Unit, of course, is not to blame for this completely, but with two survival programs running alongside, viewers cannot resist the need to compare the two. Despite being released 2 weeks after and having less of a budget to work with, MIXNINE's theme song, Just Dance, has gathered 5.1 million views on YouTube, compared to The Unit's My Turn with only 2.2 million. MIXNINE just couldn't live up to the promise. The Unit slowly but surely marked themselves as the survival show to watch. Only during the auditions of the show were these head-to-head and had distinct charms. While The Unit had personalities like Rain, Sunny, and Hwan Ji-yeol to liven up the show, auditionees performing to a crowd and being voted by them directly, MIXNINE's trademark was harsh but honest commentary from YG through private performances at the auditionees' companies, YG having the final word about passing them or not. The first sign of things going downhill for MIXNINE was the weird editing coming from jTBC and the debut bus mechanic, which made no sense as it was non-gender specific and ultimately led to basically no privileges for those who got on, other than bragging rights. Also, there was this weird mid-audition dance and vocal mission which came out of nowhere, where the winner got onto the bus, but again, the bus mechanic was flawed, so it didn't really matter. The best part of MIXNINE auditions was the fact that YG actually went to the companies to see them perform, which led to open my eyes about how diverse they can be and how it's not all peaches and cream in the industry. But of course, episodes passed, and it was apparent that The Unit was more entertaining to watch, at least for me and my sister. We would wait anxiously for the new episode of The Unit every week. We also watched MIXNINE, of course, but it was like a secondary thing, something to keep us busy while waiting for The Unit. Something we noticed was a huge change of ambience between the two shows. While The Unit was all fun, cheerful, and willing to help others, MIXNINE was more of a royal rumble between the participants, making somewhat negative comments from time to time. The Unit was more, hold my hand, we'll get through it together, while MIXNINE was more of, you better not slack off, I don't want you pulling me down. And I get it. I mean, most of MIXNINE's participants were trainees and still very young, while the Unit participants were mostly idols who wanted a second chance, thus making them more mature in a way. Something that made a huge difference toward my sister and I following The Unit more was that they put more focus onto fleshing out the participants, getting to know them. Something that MIXNINE failed horribly. while in the unit I can recognize about 75 of participants altogether. In MIXNINE I can barely recognize about 10%, and mostly because I knew them before the show started, like the girls from Bonus Baby, or because they were extremely popular in the show, like JYP's Ryujin. Now, by this point, I should clarify that I have not actually even seen the final of MIXNINE. The reason for this is that I didn't have any motivation to watch it. I basically only knew, and still only know, 5 of the 36 members going into the final, and only really care about Moonhee and Hayoon from Bonus Baby. Completely the opposite of the unit, where I knew about 21 of 36 finalists, and cared deeply about at least 11 of them. Moving on to the performances on the show, they were pretty okay on both sides to be honest, but the unit performances just stuck with me more, like Who's Your Mama, Jackpot, and Butterfly taking up a special place in my heart. But the good stuff starts when we move on to the songs produced exclusively for the shows. Despite not being huge on the YG style of music, Dangerous Girl, Hush, and Super Freak were definitely some of my favorite songs from the two shows, the unit having more songs I liked, basically all of them, but my overall ranking not letting the MIXNINE songs down, at least not a lot. Finally, to wrap this video up, while I did enjoy the unit more than I did MIXNINE, both shows provided me with more knowledge about the world of K-pop, both being the reason I started this channel in the first place, with my hidden gem videos, to give more exposure to those artists who tried but unfortunately were not captured by the spotlight. The unit and MIXNINE ultimately showed me new artists who are now some of my favorites. Very Good, Ace, Good Day, Kim, and by extension, Kang, which will be debuting soon. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. This is actually the first time I tried to do this type of video. I had wanted to do this video a time ago, like I said before, but really didn't have the means to do it, so I'm partially glad of what happened. Though it would have been nice to see the winners of MIXNINE actually debut and act as sort of a follow-up rival to UNB, or see YG debut the girl group, but that boat has now been long gone. If you have any recommendation of what video I should make next, leave it in the comments below. Anyway, thank you so much for getting to the end of the video, and I hope I see you guys real soon. May every artist get a chance to be under the spotlight.